Atta girl, you make me proud. Every new pilot would want to hear these comments from their instructor or mentor. It represents a job well done and solidifies the relationship between the two as they negotiate difficult conditions in the air. There was a recent event that garnered international attention. Over the radio, a man who was not a pilot assisted a novice pilot with an emergency landing. 2 persons were on board the little plane when the event occurred as it flew over Florida's Everglades. Sydney Morningstar, the pilot, was just approximately 20 hours into her career when the plane's engine failed in the middle of the flight. Any pilot would have been in a terrible scenario like this, much less a newbie. Sydney was being led through it all, though. When he heard the emergency call on his radio scanner, former commercial aircraft pilot Robert Murgatroyd offered to aid. He guided Sydney through each stage of the emergency landing, keeping her composed and concentrated the entire time. Robert praised Sydney as he coached her, telling her, "Atta girl, I'm proud of you," and "You're doing great, Sydney." Undoubtedly, hearing those words of support kept Sydney calm and focused during the tense circumstance. This is the ideal illustration of the mentoring and support-oriented culture in aviation. Younger generations are frequently given the opportunity by seasoned pilots to learn from them and improve as pilots as a result. In this instance, Robert's rapid thinking and direction might have prevented not just Sydney's death but also the deaths of additional people who might have been on board the aircraft. This mentoring culture, however, extends beyond only seasoned pilots assisting rookies. It permeates every aspect of the aviation sector, from ground staff to air traffic controllers to engineers. Everyone is aware of how crucial it is to collaborate in order to maintain operations that are both safe and effective. Let's look at the operations of a ground crew as an example. Without the assistance of the ground crew, who are in charge of loading cargo and making sure the aircraft is fueled and prepared to take off, the pilot is unable to lift the aircraft off the ground. But it goes further than that. In order to direct pilots as they taxi approach the runway, ground crews also interact with them over the radio. The avoidance of plane collisions on the runway or taxiway, which could have disastrous effects, depends on effective communication. Another example is air traffic controllers. They are in charge of directing aircraft through the air, making sure they maintain safe separations from one another and steer clear of any hazards or bad weather. They are the unsung heroes of the aviation sector, working diligently in the background to maintain the safe operation of aircraft. But even with all of these precautions, accidents can still happen. When they do, the mentoring and support system in aviation shifts into high gear. In order to follow emergency procedures and keep passengers safe, pilots, air traffic controllers, and ground staff collaborate. This was made clear in another instance that occurred in 2018, when an engine failure on a Southwest Airlines flight resulted in the death of one passenger. Air traffic controllers and the airplane crew collaborated to achieve a swift and safe emergency landing. Later, passengers on the flight acknowledged that their survival was largely due to the professionalism and composure of the flight crew and air traffic controllers. These events demonstrate how the aviation sector differs from other sectors in having a distinctive culture of mentoring and collaboration. It's a culture that puts everyone's safety first and encourages seasoned professionals to teach the next generation their knowledge and abilities. In conclusion, there is more to the aviation sector than simply flying aircraft from point A to point B. It's a complicated system, and many different people must cooperate to ensure its safe and effective operation. The industry is distinct from others due to the culture of mentoring and assistance that permeates it. This culture is highlighted by the recent incident where a veteran pilot assisted a new pilot with an emergency landing, as well as numerous instances where aviation professionals have cooperated to ensure safety. It's a culture that values education, personal development, and teamwork, and one that we should all aim to imitate in our personal and professional lives. Atta girl, you have my admiration and gratitude. Continually do fantastic work.